right into the Hey guys, welcome back to Athlete Stories. This show is brought to you by WODproof Bionic. Bionic is a program they launched a few months back to help members improve their mobility and range of motion while becoming better overall athletes. WODproof Bionic tracks and analyzes movement in real time with the goal of providing unique mobility plans for each user. You can get a free week of WODproof Bionic at the link in our bio. The show is also brought to you by X Endurance. X Endurance Sports Supplements is approved by Informed Sport for professional athletes. I know I say this every time, but if you're an athlete that gets drug tested, I would highly recommend X Endurance. There's also a link to them in the show notes as well. But today's episode, we've got none other than Phil Toon, recent podium winner at the Granite Games. Up and coming rookie going to his first CrossFit Games. Phil, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. I was actually thinking about that phrase, podium winner. Even if you're not first, you're still a podium winner, right? Like that phrase is still accurate? Like you podiumed?
I mean, I'm definitely not an expert. Maybe podium finisher?
Podium finisher. Yeah. Right when I said winner, I was like, well, that might be misleading. He podiumed at the Granite Games.
Yeah.
By the way, man, congratulations. That was a hell of a performance at the Granite Games.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You so kind of right after that happens, when they say, Phil Toon, you're going to the CrossFit Games, what was the feeling or the first thought that comes to mind?
Relief, in a sense. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. All athletes do, especially when you have expectations. And it's nice, like all the sacrifices you made. You just, it's just kind of all flashed before your eyes. Like every tough decision you made, every decision not to, eat that meal or go out and do this and, go that extra mile in a workout. It kind of all just like, it's just a sense of relief and that, all right, it was worth it. You know?
I feel that, man.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about in terms of the CrossFit Games? Is there like a specific event? Is there like, anything in particular that comes to mind when you're like, this is what I'm most looking forward to?
On the competition floor, definitely just pushing myself, that extra mile. I think with semifinals, it's like I said, there's a lot of expectations because the season's not done yet. So you want to get to that, that level of the CrossFit Games. And then once you're there, it's like, all right, just leave it all out there. This is it, regardless, good or bad. So you have nothing to lose at that point. So I'm really excited just going in with that mindset of, like I'm here, I might as well just go out, give it my best. And I'm really excited to do it with, my friends and my family behind me. They're, they push me. I love them and they support me. So that's something I'm super excited for.
Yeah. And you have a pretty big, like in-person fan base, I guess you could say, right? Like you have a lot of in-person supporters, whereas, and of course, I'm not sure where they're all from, but obviously that depends on how far it is. And so, but you have a lot of supporters, friends and family that came out to the Granite Games to see you. Where are you originally from?
Originally I'm from New York, but primarily like my CrossFit career and my fans are all from Arizona. I worked at the gym out there, coached, taught kids classes and whatnot. So I just built some good relationships with some people out there, and they've kind of seen me, working throughout the years, and like it goes so far beyond the gym with them. So, they come out to support me. They call themselves the Toon Squad, and they definitely get rowdy.
Yeah, that's a convenient last name.
Yeah, man, it works out well.
What did you have a nickname growing up?
No, not. I mean, the standard cartoon, Toonchi, all that stuff, just around the last name, the easy ones.
Yeah. Did you ever get picked on for it?
When I was younger, and then I had this face that just always looked like you might not want to mess with that guy. You're not sure what he's doing. But I'm really
agree.
Nice guy.
I've met. I think I've met you or been around you twice, and you're very nice both times, and you're well spoken so far, and like, but just looking at you, it is one of those things where you're like, I don't know if you're an MMA fighter, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have like the softest, like I don't look at you and think I'll beat that guy up. You know what I mean? Like, so I can imagine growing up. I was curious, like, were you small? Were you big? Or like, what was that like for you?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I was skinny. I played basketball like in high school. I think by the time I graduated high school, I was probably about maybe 155, 160 pounds. Right now, I fluctuate around like 200, maybe a little bit less. So I put on a lot of weight since then, but I think it's just my face. I don't know.
You ever think maybe I should smile more? You ever think that?
Yeah, I mean all the time, but at the end of the day, it's I can't. I'm just me. And if I'm competing, don't expect too many smiles until the competition's over.
Yeah, I feel that. The faces that I make, man, are not flattering at all.
I hear you.
So you're from New York. What part of New York?
Westchester County, so the county north of the city.
Okay. And then how long did you live there? Did you grow up there?
Yeah, I grew up in New York. I lived there until I was 18 or 19, I think maybe 19. And then I moved to Arizona. I went to ASU, Arizona State. And then I lived there until I was about 23 this past year. And then I moved to Florida.
Yeah. And so you're in Fort Myers, Naples area.
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
Southwest.
What's that move been like from Arizona to Florida?
Truthfully, man, it's been great having Matt Torres, of course, my coach, another brute strength coach, Dom. It's been great having them, just having the hands-on aspect of it. Like, I feel like all the top athletes in CrossFit, if they're not at a training camp, they're working with a remote coach of some sort, and it's the way to go. You have to do it because you need that great programming and stuff. But it can be challenging in the sense of you can't get that like immediate feedback. So you struggle. Like for me, snatching, for instance, is a weak point. So being able to make the correction on the spot rather than wait like an hour a day, 2 days until the next day I snatch is like it can be difficult, especially for somebody who wants to like implement these things right away because we have so many high goals to achieve. So that's been like the best thing. In terms of the move, I will say Arizona was awesome for people like my age. There's just a lot to do there. Me and my girlfriend talk. It's like the most convenient place in the world. It's like you need an energy drink before work. There's like 80 gas stations in the next like 2 miles, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's so convenient. Everything's so close. But I mean, I can't complain. Florida, I live like 3 minutes from the beach, so that's something nice to do. And I love the weather. And I have had my parents about 2 hours from me throughout the whole winter, so I was able to see them a few more times than in the past, which has been great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. When you say you have your snatch is your weak point.
Yep.
What is your snatch?
275. And I've been stuck there before you say anything. I've been stuck at 275 since I was 19, and my clean is over 100 pounds more than my snatch. So,
I was gonna say relative to your other lifts, your snatch is a weak point.
Yeah.
I think you'll still survive with a 275 snatch when it comes down to it. But
shoot, man, all these freaking kids these days are snatching 300 and stuff. I'm like, man, that's ridiculous. We'll get there though. We're gonna get there this year.
It's wild though, and I think just watching some athletes, it's like some athletes' brain understands the snatch more than others. You know what I mean? Like
the patience.
You just see it like flow better with some, and even like especially in young athletes, right? Because they haven't had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to practice this movement, but all of a sudden they're just like flowing so well with it. 19 years old, snatching 300 pounds or something. And it's like, that's clearly something that you just understood. Like skateboarding for me, for example, like I grew up skateboarding, and some of us, like I got the kickflip like the first day. I mean, I spent like hours on it, but still first day. And some other people would take them like a year. You know what I mean? Like just because they couldn't wrap their head around it.
I skateboarded for a while when I was younger too, and the technical aspect of it's crazy. It's just constantly trying to master your craft on it.
Like I could never do a 360 flip, but I could do everything regular. I could do switch. So there's just like a couple things that you couldn't figure out in your brain. You know what I mean? You're like, I see you doing it, but when I do it, it doesn't do that. Like
That's every day when I see Dallin snatching, I'm like, I feel like in my head I see myself doing that, but then I watch my videos and I'm not doing it at all.
I feel that. Phil, if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words. Serious, nice, and intense. Serious and intense kind of go hand in hand, but especially as an athlete, I feel like I'm very, passionate, intense, and some people might mistake that for like, mean or being angry. But I feel like once you get to know me, I feel like I'm a really nice guy, soft spoken. So yeah.
Nice. Side note, Matt DeLuga said, "What's up?"
What's up, Matt?
Just got a text from him. He's actually my roommate, so he's probably listening.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him a lot.
His ears on the door right now, listening to me talk about snatching with you.
That's.
But so you went from New York to Arizona. Where were you training at in Arizona? You were at a CrossFit there?
Yeah, so I was at Majestic Fitness, which is my brother's gym. I was there for quite a few years, and then I was at we moved over towards this gym called CrossFit Mesa, which is within the same area, but a little closer. And CrossFit Mesa was where I actually still do programming for them. I got a ton of good buddies over there. Great gym, and that's primarily where a bunch of this Toon squad is at right now. And that gym, it was a pretty big gym, had a lot of members, and like I said, I do the programming for there. I taught the Olympic lifting class there. We did that twice a week. I taught a kids class there, and my girlfriend coached as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
And when did you start doing CrossFit full time?
Full time? So, I mean,
meaning let me clarify.
Yeah.
I imagine that you have a fitness background prior to doing I like this CrossFit thing. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay.
So when did you become a CrossFitter?
When I was probably about 19 or 20. So I took kind of a different approach to CrossFit. But I did start in your general everyday classes. That's what I did for pretty much. I primarily did class workouts. I didn't actually get a coach until last year, right before the Open, like a week before the Open. And that was Matt, and I've been Matt since. And but when I started CrossFit, I started in I think 2017 maybe. After basketball, I had a few injuries. I got I had ankle surgery. I broke my ankle, broke my foot, and after that, I was kind of just like, I can't even walk out the door without twisting my ankle, so I probably shouldn't play basketball anymore. And then I found CrossFit, and my brother was very good at it, and I was he had a gym in New York at the time, so I was he was helping me out and got me he was a big inspiration and got me into it, and the whole competitive mindset of it. But I didn't actually transition into wanting to compete for quite a few years. Like I said, I started doing in 2017, 2018. I was doing a lot of class workouts and stuff, and then I competed at Wadapalooza actually in one of those years. I can't remember which year it exactly was, and I did pretty well. I competed in the RX division, and at that point, I realized that I was I need to get stronger. I just can't. There was a heavy lifting event, and I just couldn't hang with the guys on the lifting event. So, and then of course, the elite guys are stupid strong. So yeah, this is. If I can't lift these weights, I can't compete. Doesn't matter how good I am in burpees. If you can't, pick up that bar, you can't do anything. So I went on a few strength cycles, and I really just hammered the raw strength: squat, deadlift, pressing, snatch, clean and jerk, and wanted to get my strength to a certain point before I decided to kind of really start competing in CrossFit again. And that was a few years process. Fast forward, while, and I actually I did some powerlifting for a little, and after that it came the 2021 Open, and that's when I was all right, now it's time to put all the cards on the table with CrossFit and really just devote no more powerlifting, no more strength cycles. I'm where I need to be now. I need to just get fitter.
Did you, because you're pretty freaking strong, did you realize when you started those strength cycles that this is something that, I don't want to say it comes easy to you as if you didn't put in the work, but you're stronger than a lot of other people that have done a handful of strength cycles. Let's just say that. You know what I mean?
It was weird. So I felt like I was always a kind of strong kid, in high school and stuff. I enjoyed working out. through basketball and stuff, I really enjoyed like, squatting, benching. I just enjoyed going to the gym and being in shape and stuff. And I remember I squatted 405 when I was like 17 or 18. And I was like, man, that was pretty good. My deadlift was bad. I couldn't deadlift anything, which is so weird. My deadlift was maybe like 385, 405. My squat was 405, which is super strange. And then it was, fast forward maybe 2 years, I was on a squat cycle and I randomly pulled like 500 just out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell just happened? And, like you said, I realized the squat and the deadlift came pretty easy to me compared to like, other things. I was like, I really like doing this and I'm pretty good at it. And, I'm not that heavy. And I was way lighter back then. So that's actually why I was like, I want to do a powerlifting meet. I want to kind of like see what my potential could be. And I only devoted about like, 8 to 12 weeks of training specifically for that powerlifting meet. And I did a lot of that programming myself and just kind of like mixed and matched percentages. And I loved it. I'm definitely at some point, gonna try to do another meet just because it was really fun. And I do have some numbers like in the back of my head that I eventually want to get to that I no way in hell could touch right now, that I don't even want to try to touch. But those two lifts definitely came a little bit easier to me than others. Bench, definitely not my best, but I don't see why with some work I could get there in that one as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've done 2 powerlifting meets and it's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's
crazy.
It is a totally different environment, obviously, than a CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
But I segued from like competitive bodybuilding, and then I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna try powerlifting, and powerlifting was way more fun than bodybuilding.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then you get into CrossFit, and you're like, oh, this is kind of a little bit of everything. And
it is, yeah. So the powerlifting, I had never done a powerlifting meet or anything. And it was a local meet at a powerlifting gym in the Phoenix, Gilbert area. And, I guess it maybe was I don't remember what the federation, I think it was like APA or something, the Federation American Powerlifting Association. And they like didn't have a spot available. And then somehow I got in. And, I had no idea what to expect. I remember watching the West Side versus the World documentary like the night before. Dude, I was so fucking scared. I was like, man, these guys are mean. Like they're gonna hate me tomorrow. And I walked in there. I was wearing a CrossFit shirt. I had my two-pood Velcro belt. I had nanos on, the Fronings. Not a power lifter at all, like by any means. These guys were fat, drinking honey in between sets. And just strong. But one thing I can tell you is like the community aspect of it like is the same. Like people get hyped for each other just like they do in CrossFit. Like when I'm competing, I'm not necessarily cheering for the guy next to me because I want to beat him. But like you see in the weightlifting event, the crowd is pumped up for everybody. It doesn't matter if they're cheering for their guy specifically or their lady. They cheer for everybody. So that was awesome. Like I was taken back by how nice and friendly everybody was, and how everybody was trying to help one another. But man, the atmosphere in there, like I said, it was tiny, the gym, but it was packed and it was loud. Like my deadlift video, when I hit my last deadlift, I don't know if I've ever heard a gym get as loud as that. Like I felt like I probably could have lifted anything on that lift. Just pure adrenaline and testosterone and everything in the air. It was sweaty, smelly, but I fucking loved it, man. It was like I love intensity and like anger when I lift. Like I can't lift in that quiet room with no music. Like
same.
All the people who train with me, they all make it's kind of like a joke, but like if I'm having a bad lifting session, you're most likely gonna hear it. Like maybe that chalk bucket will get it, maybe that water bottle will get it. Something's gonna get kicked or thrown around near me, and everybody we laughed about it once we're done. I'm sure like James and Dallin and all them, they know, but like. I need that sometimes to like get my best lift. Like sometimes I need to just like get that angry. And I feel like in the powerlifting community, it's kind of just like you walk in and it's like that atmosphere for a lift. And I love it.
Yeah, it's normal.
So fun. Yeah, it's so fun. So I will definitely be making my way as long as my body can hold up.
What'd you finish with at that meet?
I did 575 on squat. 357 on bench, maybe 347 actually. 347 on bench and 661 on deadlift. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man, I
How
could.
much did you weigh?
198.
That's great. Did you win?
Yes. Like I said, it wasn't a crazy meet. So my deadlift actually, is decently competitive for my weight class. Squat would need to be higher. Bench is trash. And I'm talking in terms of like national level. I'm not talking, but story with the squat is I didn't squat for like 3 weeks leading up to it because I like pulled my groin. It was black and blue. I was doing something really dumb, but I hadn't squatted any weight leading up to it for like 3 weeks. So 575 was a huge PR at the time. So, if I were to go into it again, I'd probably train a little bit smarter. Like I said, I did a lot of it myself. And the day I messed up my groin, it was because on Saturday I was doing like box squats at 485. And then I came in on Monday, I was trying to do like doubles at 505 on squat. And that's not enough time for your CNS to recover, let alone like, your body. Like that's way, way, way too much impact. And too close in between. So, I would do things different. I would definitely reach out to a coach and hopefully be able to, take care of some of those little stupid things.
Yeah. How did you get connected with Matt Torres? Like what, when you decided, I need a coach, did you look at a couple coaches where you were like, that's my coach?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yep. So it was after I did the fittest experience in 2021, maybe. Yeah, whatever. I did it not this year, the year prior.
Right before the Open.
Yeah, and that was when I decided like, all right, I'm gonna actually try to, I'm gonna really try to push to the games and stuff. And I was like, all right, I need a coach. Or I wanted to try to do it myself because I felt like I had some knowledge in programming. And then I went into the gym one day, program for myself. I walked in wanting to do this, and I ended up doing this because this was way more fun than the other piece I'd program, which is what I feel like you always do if you're doing it yourself. Yeah. You never want to make yourself just row or do whatever for an hour. So at that point, I reached out to I want to say I reached out to like Invictus, OPEX, maybe one more, and then I reached out to Matt. And my whole idea with reaching out to Matt was I don't really want to follow a template program, and I want something individualized because I feel like I feel like I'm good at pushing myself. I feel like I'm good at putting myself in that place to get better at the cardio and stuff. But I feel like with an individual coach, it goes beyond that in terms of just like him, finding the bits and the pieces that actually can like put it all together, right? And Matt and I had a phone call, and afterwards I was like, man, like this dude, he's not flashy, he's not saying this. He said one thing which really stuck out to me. He's like, I have athletes that are going to do really well in the Open and the quarterfinals and stuff. So he's like, I can tell you straight up, right after you do the workout if it's going to be good enough. And I was training by myself at the time, so that was like, well, I want that because it's there's a lot of unknown in the Open and the quarterfinals, and for me in the semifinals last year, it was that was a big key factor. And he wouldn't tell me dial and score, but he would tell me like, all right, like we need to come up with another game plan, or there is quite a few of us that were pushing for that games level. So to be able to like compare a little bit in a sense, or have him have some ideas of what good scores are was very helpful. And that's kind of what put me over the top. And with him, and I told him I would try his approach, and it was very, very, very different from what I was doing. But I was seeing results pretty early, so I liked it a lot.
Awesome. And you mentioned like you're kind of circling back to your gym behavior, right? Like leveraging anger and loud music. I imagine that's a significant contrast to Emma Carey.
Yeah. I love Emma. She's a sweetheart, and I think she gets taken back by my gym freakout sessions here and there. But we make it work, and we get along, and we at the end of the day, I think it's we're very similar in a sense. I think we have a very similar approach to competition and our competitors and our workouts, and I think we can see that in one another. Of course, we're I'm like 7 years older than her, but the one thing that like know with Emma, and I don't think there's very many people that are like this in CrossFit. I think there are a few, and that's just like that are just cold-blooded killers when they're out on the competition floor. Like I don't see very many in the sport of CrossFit. You know, like people always like ask me about like that mindset, and I just think about Kobe. You know, Kobe was a killer. Like he didn't want to, you know, until it was over, there was no friendships, there was no talking, there was no, you know, none of this like bullshit, excuse my language. There was none of this like, you know, like joking around mindset. Like it was a business trip until he was done. And, you know, like I said, I don't see too many in CrossFit, and not saying that, you know, everybody has to be like that to be good, because there are plenty of other athletes out there that are unbelievable in the sport, that are, you know, jokesters and can joke around and laugh around before events and go out there and perform amazing. But Emma, I feel like, is that one that she just wants to go and just destroy you. Doesn't matter if she's winning by a minute, she wants to win by 2 minutes. And I feel like, you know, we relate in that sense, and you know, we have that common ground there, even though we might, what's the word I'm looking for? We might like, you know, wear it on our sleeves a little bit differently, where she's like very quiet and reserved, and like, you know, if I'm having a bad day, you'll probably know about it.
Yeah. No, I've seen that look on her face. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When she's on the competition floor.
Yeah. I mean, she's unbelievable. Like I have so much respect for her, both as an athlete, as a person. She's, you know, I can't imagine doing what she's doing at, you know, 17, 18 years old. It's unreal.
Yeah, it is. It's very impressive. What's one of your first memories as a kid?
First memories as a kid? Well, I don't know why this just popped in my head. So I was at the playground with my mom. She's pushing me on the swing set, and the cops had to come to get us off the swing set because the park was closing, and I didn't want to leave. My mom loves that story. And I would sing a song. I don't remember what the song is, but yeah, I love the swing set. I would not leave it.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Was that your first altercation with the law, or?
Hey, man, just because I'm covered in tattoos doesn't mean I'm I'm just kidding. Yeah, probably. I hope so.
What's one of your proudest moments as a kid that you can recall, whether it's like young adult or like young kid?
Proudest moments as a kid. That's a tough one. Probably, you know, I'd say my first year of high school basketball at my public school, hitting a game winner versus our rivalry team. That was like just a surreal moment, and you know, something I've talked about and will remember forever. That was a super, super cool moment, and it was at their home court and crowded gym. I was supposed to be the starting point guard at the time, and I was playing like crap the first 2 games. So the dude came in and started, and I don't know, he was sick or something happened, and you know, I got the opportunity and made the most of it.
That's epic. That's like everybody wants that kind of memory, bro.
It was, dude. It was unreal. It was like, it's actually on YouTube, and it was the weirdest shot. I did like the splits in the air. It was like almost from half court. And yeah, we went crazy. And then we had a tournament like the next day, and I hit another game winner that day. So that was 2 back-to-back. Was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. Let's pull this up. Let's pull this clip
there
up.
It is. Yep. And my shorts and jersey were way too big. They were supposed to be for the big man, but for some reason I got them.
Was that it? Can you?
Yeah, you might be able to pull up a better one. That was really blurry. It was quick. There you go.
Can you unmute it? Oh.
See that little split? I don't know what that was.
Yo, that is so sick.
Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I get
Yeah, man.
Whoa, that is epic.
It was.
Dang. Yeah, that's for sure one of the proudest moments.
Absolutely.
That's like every high school movie that ever comes out. Basically, you live that out.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. Exactly.
every like so you think you can dance kind of movie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm jealous. What's your favorite music to listen to when you work out?
Rap
Okay.
all
What
day.
what's like the one song right now? You know what I mean? That you're like, I'm gonna play this song real quick.
What was I listening to before? I mean, DMX is like my go-to pre-workout. Like he's
R.I.P.
all DMX, 50 Cent, but probably there's a song, "What's My Name" by DMX. That was like my go-to before in all the Granite Games workouts. I had that on. It just locks me in. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I like the early 2000s hip hop. That's where I find my pre-workout in.
that's sick.
Yeah.
What about like if you're driving long road trip? What are you playing? Is it rap still, or are you?
Yeah, but I like some other stuff. There's this dude he's from North Carolina, and J. Cole just signed him recently. His name is Murray or Moray, and he does like kind of like rap, singing, a little bit of both. Do you know who Rod Wave is? You ever heard of Rod Wave? No.
Mm-mm.
Well, he's kind of like similar to that. It's he hasn't had any like breakout songs yet, and I'm very surprised. He's extremely talented. Like he does like a mixture of rap and singing, but he came out with an album last year, and it's one of the few albums, like especially in today's music, that I can kind of listen to through and through. And whenever I listen, I'm just in the car for a long ride or just chilling, I'll kind of just throw that on start to finish. I don't really not like any of the songs on that album. It's good.
Nice. We touched on your proudest moment. What's like one of the what's the most trouble you've ever been in?
Truthfully, man, I was a good kid. Or at least I got away with things. I was good at getting away with things, but never had any issues with the law. I had some idiot friends who've done some crazy things, but this is a funny one. So this one's crazy. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but whatever. It's
You should definitely be saying this.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's fine. It was me and 2 or 3 other kids, and I think we were like 16. So in New York, the kid who was driving, he had his junior license. None of us had our license at the time. So junior license, you can't have anyone under the age of 21, I think, sitting in the front seat. So already doing that, and you can't drive past like 9 p.m. or something, right? And we were at our buddy's place. We were on the street, and they were like, "Yeah, we went out egging last night, egging cars. It was so fun." I was like, "Not a good idea." I was being the smart guy. I'm like, "It's just not a good idea." But of course, 5 minutes later, we're out egging cars, and we're driving. We happen to egg this one car, and this car turns around and follows us. And we were in my buddy's town, and there's like a lot of crazy Italian kids and stuff who live there, and they pull up next to us. We're going. This is not like country. This is like suburb city mix. It's like there's a lot of cars and stuff. They pull up on the other side of the street next to us, take out a vodka bottle, throw it at the car, and they're like telling us to pull over. And we're like in like a small car chase in like a town, and we're freaking out. We don't know what to do. We can't pull over because they're gonna beat the crap out of us. They're giant, like they're angry, and there's a few of them in there. And they ended up seeing who it was, and they were like these big, like juiced up kids at their high school. And we're going through town now at like 60 miles per hour. It's probably like 25 or 35 mile per hour speed limit. And I was like, "Hey, let's get on the highway." Like I'm familiar with the place. We get on the highway, and we're probably going 120 on the highway. I'm not even kidding. Like we were going so fast, our heart rates were through the roof. And we're on it's called the Sawmill Parkway in New York, and the state police the state police station is like right there on the highway. So couldn't have been a worse place to be speeding. And they're just chasing us. Like we've been on the highway for now like 10 minutes just in a car chase. And like I said, this kid only has his junior license, and he's not necessarily the smartest or the best driver. So we're all freaking out. And one of them, like I said, he recognizes the kid who is in there. So he tries to call him on the phone and be like, "Hey, it's me. Like, let's figure this out." And the dude was just like, "No, screw that. Like, we're coming." And luckily they got caught behind a car, and I knew somebody that lived off this exit. All right. Yes. Somebody that lived off his egg. So I was like, pull off here. I know where to go. We go and we end up not going to that person's house, but we end up going under a hotel, parking. And my friend's dad came and picked us up. We wouldn't even drive back in the same car. Dude, it was like, I remember we were like, talk about just pure adrenaline and scared and not knowing what's happening. That was it.
Oddly enough, I've been in a couple experiences like that too.
Yeah.
Specific, but
yeah, it's not necessarily the most fun.
Yeah, no, it's nowhere near as cool as watching it in the movies.
No,
but
it's a good story.
Heck yeah. Glad you made it out alive.
Me too, man. Or else I wouldn't be here.
Jail or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of high school, though, what kind of student were you?
I was all right. I mean, I devoted. So, like I said, I grew up around a lot of dumb kids, and like I said, I never was in serious trouble and stuff. And that was because I was very serious with basketball. I wanted to play D1, and that kept me out of a lot of trouble. So, I didn't really smoke as much or drink as much as most of the other people around me. And I, made sure I did my best in school. I have ADHD, so I had trouble in certain classes. It was hard for me to sit in a lecture and be able to retain all the information that was, being given. So that was the hard part for me. And I was able to learn how to control it as the years went on. So like freshman year, I wasn't a very good student, but senior year, I was a pretty good student. So it got better. And a lot of the schools that were looking at me for basketball were Division III schools. And a lot of them were in the New England area, very, very high academics. So I knew, going into my senior year that I had to really push hard academically and get, certain levels of ACT scores, SAT scores. So I gave it my best, but like I said, I wasn't incredible or anything. And even in college, I hate school. It's not something that I can just devote all this time for, but I tried really hard, and I pushed myself, and I went to tutors and studied my ass off and took ADHD pills when I needed them and whatnot, but it's just not something that came easy to me. And I was the type of person that, if I liked it and if I understood it, it was going to come easy to me because I would devote all the time and I'd be able to retain the information. It's just like that with life for me is I feel like I really enjoy coaching and everything about fitness. So it comes easy to me to be able to just devote hours on hours per day to perfecting my craft, whether it's an athlete or as a coach.
Yeah. Was there a subject in school that you did like a lot? Like what was the subject that was your
math
favorite?
actually was my best. I think the hands-on aspect of it, because you're always doing stuff in math, whether it was solving a problem or going on a calculator. You were always for not algebra, like calculus and stuff. You have to do so much to get to your solution, right? It's not just you read for 10 minutes and then describe what happened during that reading. You're actually going through it step by step. So that kind of just kept my mind on the task at hand.
Yeah, I love math. The thing I love about math is it's irrefutable, right? You're either right or you're wrong.
Yeah, sure.
Or you're close, right? And being close still feels kind of good. But in literature class and history, there's just so many variables, especially in literature when you would write a paper and get a bad grade. And it's a lot of that is opinion.
Yeah.
The teacher saying, oh, you didn't try hard enough here, or you didn't elaborate here. And you're like, this is how I told the story. I'm sorry.
I also never proofread my stuff, ever. I was I wrote that whole thing that took 3 hours. Ain't no way I'm going back through that to make sure I don't have any grammatical errors or anything like that.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, if it's in there, which it is, that's fine. So be it.
What'd you go to college for?
Exercise and wellness it was called, but it was just exercise science. I only did three quarters of my degree. And I was working a lot through college, coaching, so many hours and training. And it got to the point where it didn't really make sense financially to put myself through school and only be doing, X amount of hours. So I really do want to go back and finish. It's just a matter of when. And I know it's always there for me, whereas competing might not always be there for me. So right now, this is what I'm going to focus on. And then, we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah. I told my parents I was going to finish school. So once I commit to something, I'm going to do it.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I'm still I have 5 classes left until I finish my undergrad. I've been doing it for 10 years.
Hey man, as long as you get it done, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, it's like, like you said, time, money, all that stuff you have to allocate towards school.
Yeah.
And, the older you get, I would say the harder it gets. And so maybe not older as if age is relative, but more or less like the more you grow in your business or your athleticism and things like that, it's like, okay, well, I have to focus on this other thing. And so I've just like chipped away over time, chipped away.
Yeah.
So I feel that if you weren't pursuing, professional CrossFit athlete full time and coaching, what else would you see yourself doing as a career? Like, what did you picture yourself doing when you were younger? Probably
always
basketball, but
always in the athletic realm. I kind of saw myself as a basketball trainer, but I'd say more along the lines of maybe an athletic trainer. There are some other things that have sparked my interest just because I have had a lot of injuries and I have had, lots of things, shitty parts of my body, hip impingements and whatnot, and back injuries. So PT, kind of like is interesting to me. And I do a lot of research on, ways to make my body, move better, feel better and stuff like that. But then I think back at how much school I'd have to do that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. No way.
yeah.
No way. But it goes to something I always say to people. I'm like, this is my opinion, and it's totally opinionative. I think unless you're gonna really use your degree, I think school is so dumb. I really do, because I've learned so much more about business, life, how to market, how to build for myself and others around me through just doing. Like none of which I learned in school. I didn't learn anything in school, even in the exercise science and wellness realm. I can tell you everything that I apply to my coaching, my clients, my nutrition, their nutrition, and everything in between is nothing that I learned in school. And that's all that I've learned through working with people helping me with my macros, working with people like Matt, going to PT, going to chiropractors. And of course they have tons of schooling, but this is all that I've learned like through them and through my experiences. So really, unless like you're going to really use your degree for something and it's a prerequisite for PT or being a lawyer, I personally don't see as much benefit in school. And I know that's completely opinion based, but I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with you, and in many ways I do as well. I mean, I think there's something to be said about the value of completing a degree. Now, considering different circumstances, right? So it's not like, I mean, you and I think there's value in completing it, but I have yet to complete it because I've had other priorities. But
yeah,
when I look at hiring people, I do like to see it because I can see that they've committed to something and finished it, but it's not like a deciding factor for me. But I agree with you. If there's not a direct track following your degree, like you mentioned, being a lawyer or a nurse or a mechanic, or, you know what I mean? If there's not something specific that you're gearing towards, then many times it does leave people clueless.
Yeah.
So, I would agree in many ways that the education system needs reform. But it's quite a racket because when you think about like reform can't happen overnight. It's like you look at the tobacco industry, like they knew very early on tobacco was killing people, but they were like, well, crap, we're making so much money on this thing. So we have to slowly but surely create reform here. You know what I mean? So it's like same thing as school. It's like if they just eliminated all the pointless classes tomorrow, you know how many people would go without a job? You know how many teachers would lose their job?
Oh yeah. No.
So it's like they're like, we know these classes are pointless, but we're gonna probably take another 100 years to change it. You know what I mean? So in many, like I said, in many ways, I agree. I love, especially when you get to the last like year or 2 years of your degree, when it's like very intensive. Like I'm a marketing and psychology dual major, and so the classes I'm in now, because I'm 5 classes away, I like because they're so relative. But like those first 2 years and some of the, your counselor's like, you need to take this elective because it's just part of your thing. And you're like, why do I need to take the study of rocks as like another, you know what I mean? Like,
the first 2 years are miserable.
Yeah. It's just, you're just paying your dues almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you in many ways. Like I said, what's your favorite competition you've done so far?
Wadapalooza.
Wadapalooza was fun.
It was fun. My only and this goes for like Granite Games too. My only critique, and I get it, is just like making us wait until like 5 p.m. for our first event. I'm just like,
Yeah,
man,
doing the
like,
debrief at 8 a.m. and then 5 p.m. event.
I'm like, I get you want to keep people there all day, and like, you know, it is cool to put the events at night, but also at the same time, like, it is cool to get the best performance possible out of your athletes, and I don't feel like you get that when you do, you know, an event at 5 p.m. and then another one at 7 p.m. Right? So like, for instance, day one at Granite Games, we had our first event at like 4:30, and then we had a decent break. I was able to eat a meal, and then we got the lift. So, you know, it sucked having all that anxiety up to your first event, but there was enough recovery time. But then our second day, mainly for the Heat 3 men, it was totally unfair because we had a 25-minute workout, right? And we were the last to go through that workout. And then it went right to 10-minute time cap workout, and the women started. So we had like an event at like 5:45, and then I don't know, 8 something, or maybe 6:45 and 8 something. All I know is I got to go back to my room for 40 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was just a walk up from my room for 40 minutes, and at no point was I, you know, feeling any sort of recovered because it was a brutal workout in the sun, and I know that every heat before us had 15 more minutes of rest than us. And that was just the way it was structured. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see why we couldn't have fit our first workout in way earlier and like given us way more rest. But, you know, I feel like Wadapalooza, even though they did hold the events later, I feel like we did have adequate rest time between events. So that was nice. But yeah, the whole 8 a.m. brief and then you don't go until this time is like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I only went to like one brief at Wadapalooza. I kind of just accepted my fate. If I was gonna have to dispute, it was just gonna be on me. But I did go to all of them at the Granite Games.
What was your favorite event at the Granite Games?
I really like the lifting one. It's just fun, man. It's so fun. But obviously, like, my favorite moment has to be, you know, winning the Minnesota mashup one. That was my first event winning competition. I've taken second, you know, a handful of times, third a handful of times. And if you asked me if I was going to win a workout that weekend, it probably wouldn't have been that one. I thought maybe I had a chance at the thruster handstand walk one, but that was about it. I mean, I think as an athlete, I don't know if I really have home run events. I thought, you know, I did with lifting, but I don't feel like my strength is as strong as it used to be, which I'm totally okay with because, you know, I've gotten better at other things. So
Right.
winning the Minnesota mashup was super cool, and I feel like I earned it because I felt like shit afterwards for a while. You know, that was a cool experience.
What who's one of your favorite people to compete with or against?
You know, it's funny because you know, I train next to like Dallin and James and stuff every day, but I really have a very high level of respect for both of them, and specifically Dallin. I really like going back to what I said about like a killer. Like, I feel like Dallin is one of the few that he is a killer, and it's really impressive what he does at his body weight and how he moves and how mobile he is and how he handles himself off the competition floor to on the competition floor, to good days, to bad days, and everything in between. I feel like all those things just, they tell me that he's going to have a super successful career. So, you know, while we are friends and friendly, of course, you know, he's my guy. When we were in the corral next to each other at Wadapalooza, we were literally we would swap places each day at Wadapalooza. I'd be in second, he'd be in third. I'd be in third, he'd be in second, and just did that. You know, we didn't talk to each other in the corral. We didn't speak a word. But, you know, when we're done after the last event, we're able to, you know, bring it together and, you know, reflect on, you know, that we're such good friends and you know, we're doing this together. But at the same time, you know, we both want to, you know, rip each other's throats out. So it's super cool. I love that.
That's a fun thing about the sport that I really admire, especially as an individual sport, which can get pretty, you know, can get pretty messy in other sports.
Oh yeah.
Yep. If you could put anything up on a big blank billboard on the busiest intersection that you know of, what would the billboard say?
Anything?
Yeah.
Toon time.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your advice for like an aspiring CrossFit Games athlete?
Have patience. Like I would just say, I mean, it takes a long time. It doesn't matter how good you think you are, or, how genetically gifted you are. You need to be able to be humbled. You need to be able to have good days. You need to be able to have more bad days than good days, and just have patience, trust the process. Because, well, I've seen tons of comments like, "Where did this dude come from? He just came from overnight," or "This person's on steroids," or this or that. It's like, no, man. I respect everybody that I compete against because I know that none of these people, it was just handed to them and they were just good at it. Like it takes years and years and years of hard work, of suffering, of being diligent with your mobility, eating right. Like you need to just have patience. So I think that's the biggest thing because if you expect it to happen in 6 months, then you're probably going to get let down pretty quick because it's not going to happen that quick. And I think everybody can attest to that.
Yeah. You mentioned genetics for a second. So I always ask this question. I'm super interested in people's responses. When you look at like CrossFit Games athletes, yourself
Mhm.
included now, and if you were to draw like a pie graph
Mhm.
and credit a portion of that pie graph to hard work and then the other portion of it to genetics, how much would you say contributes to high level athleticism like yours and those of your other competitors?
If you asked me it like a few years ago, I would say that more of it's credited to hard work. But I do feel at this point, especially in the men's field, you like it's just so damn competitive these days, man. Like you need to have good genetics and you need to like, and whether that's like genetically you're very gifted like mobility wise, right? Like if you can't get into certain positions because you lack shoulder mobility, don't expect to be able to compete. Like you're not going to be able to overhead squat that bar, like whereas you used to be able to have those limiters and stuff. So I would have said like maybe it was like 60% hard work, 40% genetics, whereas like I would say it's about like 50-50 these days. I just feel like if you're genetically not gifted at all, I don't think you can make the CrossFit Games. Just like if you're genetically not gifted as a basketball player, like if you're 5 foot dude or 5'6" dude, and you're not blessed with like the ability to jump through the roof and have the craziest speed, like don't expect to go to the NBA. Like sorry, it's just not in the cards for you. And I would say CrossFit's not that it's totally there at that point as black and white as that, but I'd say it's getting there because there are those exceptions, right? Like height wise, athleticism wise, where people are able to make up because they're so damn like skilled or stuff like that. But I feel like it's just very very competitive now, and
Yeah.
we do need to have good genetics.
If you are you a reader, Phil? Do you read books?
Recently, I actually read a book, which is the first time in many years leading up to Granite Games.
What'd you read?
I read "Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins.
Were you inspired by Andy Frisella?
Andy's he's the man. I love Andy. His podcasts are great, and he's like what he says is like how I just feel. Like it's just so blunt and real, and I just like I love it. Like I consider myself very honest and like I said to you, like I wear my emotions on my sleeve, like in the gym and stuff. Like some people might be like, "Whoa, that's scary!" Like the way he got angry, or he's really mean, or he looks mean. It's like no, it's just who I am and how I am, and you can take it or leave it because it doesn't matter if this is my first time meeting you and you catch me on one of those days. I'm not going to be different just because you're there, and that's how I am with everybody. And everybody who knows me, they know that that's what they're going to get from me 100% of the time. So like what Andy says and stuff about working hard and being real, and humans are not that for the most part. I love what he says. So yes, I definitely am.
Yeah, when you mentioned that book, it's I think a couple years back, I was Andy had mentioned that book, and I ended up reading it, and it's the reason why I'm in CrossFit now. Ironically, so like I come from just out of high school going into the bodybuilding world, and I did that for years, and then powerlifting, and then did a couple Spartan races for fun and realized how unfit I truly was, right? Like I, 4% body fat, but I can't run for shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and so then I listened to David Goggins because I started reading it and everyone was like, bro, you got to listen to it. And it's an incredible audiobook.
I've heard the audio is awesome because the little podcast he does at the end.
Yeah, he does the interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I listened to it and I was like, you know what, man, I'm playing it safe. Like I'm still over here in the Globo gym doing what I love, but like I've been doing this for years. I'm not growing. So I was like, I need to start running. I want to do a triathlon. And so I signed up for a triathlon. And then I was like, well, I might as well just join CrossFit.
Yeah.
So I joined CrossFit. And then, here we are. So David Goggins is literally the reason why I'm in CrossFit. So I'm grateful, but I'm also very beat up from it. So
True.
So we'll finish off with some fun rapid fire questions, man. These are fun for some people and stupid for others. But what's your favorite cartoon as a kid?
SpongeBob.
Okay.
Easy.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
What beach is your favorite beach?
Ever or in Florida?
Yeah, ever.
Probably Jones Beach, just because it's like the beach that I grew up going to. It's in Long Island.
Yeah, nice. Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh?
Probably Pokemon.
Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z?
Pokemon. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z, unfortunately. I know, I just never really got hip to it.
Don't tell Maddie D that.
Sorry.
If you could choose to talk to every animal on the planet or understand all human languages, which one would you choose?
Every animal. I could care less about humans.
You're like, I talk to enough humans. I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to talk to my dogs. It's my favorite thing to do.
It would be so weird, though. You like walk out of your house and you hear insects and you hear birds. It'd be like, all right, y'all.
Yeah, chill out.
Chill out. They're always fighting. Those two birds are over there always arguing. That one's coming home late every night. You hear his wife yelling at him. Phil, last but not least, man, I like to sort of drop this bomb on people before we close out. How do you want people to remember you, when everything is all said and done?
Just, for being myself, just honest, hardworking, doesn't smile a lot during competition. But yeah, man, just, never, going with like being somebody I'm not, just always being myself. And I think that's just the most authentic, important thing to me.
Love it. Phil, man, I appreciate you jumping on the show. Again, congratulations on your punching your ticket to the CrossFit Games at the most recent Granite Games semifinal. I loved watching you perform. It's been awesome watching you excel over the past year that I've been following you personally. And, I'll see you at the game. So best of luck with the training leading up to that. And thanks again for being on today's show.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dude.